you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. It's a beautiful evening in Houston.
Oh, wow. Well, it's wet and rainy here in Illinois.
Oh, it blew out, I guess overnight because yesterday it was really rainy and high winds here with the tornado threat. But today we have beautiful, perfect weather, and hopefully we'll have a nice weekend, and hopefully it'll get better for you soon.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Well, I will say we had a short week. So, we only had 3 episodes this week due to March Madness. And we probably will have another preemption show coming up. Well, I wouldn't say show, but preempted for the sports probably in the next week or two. So
Hmm.
I usually try to stay on top of that. I'm a March Madness fan, so I mean I don't have a problem with it, but I know that there's a lot of soap opera fans that was not happy this week.
Absolutely. And it's this every year we hear the same thing. And I think, oh my goodness, just plan for it, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Just wrap your head around it. You know it's coming every year, so it shouldn't be a big surprise.
If you really want to watch, go download your favorite episode and relish in that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, welcome you guys to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where right now, because we usually have Keisha with us, she's getting ready to be deployed, but we have Trish with us, where we recap both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. And this is for the week of March 14th through the week of March 18th, but we only got 3 episodes out of this week. So, yep. So we normally do is we start with the Young and the Restless in the first half of the show. The second half of the show we do the recap of the Bold and the Beautiful, and then at the end of the show is what we would do is called the flip the script segment. So what that is that if there's a particular storyline or a scene that we wish we could change, that's where we flip the script. All right, so you ready for this?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so let me give a quick summary and then we're going to start breaking down these storylines. So, look like for this week, Victor reveals the truth to Victoria, and Allie has a shocking truth for Jack. And then we also had Nate finding proof that Ashland faked his cancer diagnosis. And then Nate informs Victor that he has the smoking gun. So I think really this week for these 3 episodes, we only have the whole Jack storyline with Allie and Phyllis. And then, of course, the whole thing with Ashland Locke.
Hmm.
So which one you want to start with first?
Well, I guess we could start with Jack. There's so much heartbreak there and also hope. We want so badly now that they know each other exist for them to come together, but you definitely want to know who is actually sending those texts.
Yeah, that's the interesting part because the way it's set up, okay, so we remember that he was receiving those cryptic texts. We don't know who they're from to come to LA. He find this box, he find pictures and letters and things like that, right? And then he runs into the fact that he has a granddaughter. And then they exchange gifts, keep in touch. And I mean, Jack was pretty much ready to go, right? He was like, okay, well, my work is done here. And Phyllis was like, no, 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 no. You need to find out who sent. There's somebody else that's a part of this. You need to find out who sent that text. And I'm really interested myself in finding out who sent those text messages.
I know there was speculation. Did Lon actually pass? Is she back? Is it the daughter in law? Allie's mom? Who's Allie's mom going to wind up being? Is it the stepsister? Is she really a stepsister or is she Jack's? I mean, there's so much speculation going on. My head's spinning. I don't know what to think.
So break that down for me because I haven't heard anything, and I've been pretty active in the groups because obviously I know you're in there as well. You've been seeing things about stepsisters and things like that?
Well, didn't Lon have another child,
That is true.
a
Okay.
daughter? So
Mhm.
that would then be, if Jack's not the father, would be his half sister or stepsister. And then what if Jack was the father? I don't know. I mean,
Mhm.
somebody asked that question. I didn't see a lot of answers or additional speculation, but it had been tossed out there. Um, but I don't know. I think that Allie's mom would be the probable answer,
Mhm.
but it will be very interesting to see. And then where is she going to fit in?
Yeah, that's the next question because, like, okay, so one of the things you said it could be Allie's mom. Now, remember, Allie said that her mother's back east somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
so she don't even. If that's the case, then she don't even know the mom is in town. The other thing is, it's got to be okay. So remember that picture that Jack saw with there's another woman and then Allie was the little girl in that picture. Now
Yes,
Jack did see, I think he knew that other woman in the picture, correct? I think I
I
remember.
think one of them was the sister.
Okay. So it's got to be somebody who knew he existed, knew that he needed to find out about, of course, his son, Keemo,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that he has a granddaughter. I was hoping that maybe we'll get to see it more of it next week, but I was really so hoping to see if we kind of got some answers to that. But we'll probably get it. It's just not right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I do look forward to whenever Allie finally does let Jack in, because I mean he always does kind of go overboard with the giving and the giving, and it'll be interesting to see with her how her personality is going to come out. Is she going to be like Keemo and a little bit more standoffish, or is she going to be totally accepting and the whole family accepts her, and she kind of fits that void of, they've lost a lot of people in that family, and it would be nice to have some Abbott's back, and I'd love it if Kyle came back, and you'd have the uncle dynamic, and it would just be very interesting to see how that played out.
Yeah, it was nice to actually get to see the Kyle, even though if it was on a iPad or whatever when he was talking to Jack. But I enjoyed that whole interaction. So it's good that we see Summer every now and then we also get to see Kyle from time to time. So I thought that was cool too.
I liked it too. Yeah.
Yeah, now it leads into that other question that you had about the fact of how is this girl going to fit in? Now, she at this moment in time don't want anything to do. Well, I mean, she said if he's ever back in LA, she'll have a lunch or dinner or whatever. And then of course, if she want to come to GC, he'll have dinner with her there or in Chicago. But obviously she's going to resurface. So I'm wondering how she's going to resurface. Is it going to be before he leaves LA and she right before he leaves she just show up and say wait, or is it a situation of him going all the way back home to GC and then she pop up and say I need your help, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And I can honestly see him going with the pop-up method.
You think so?
I don't know. I think so, because that would be a better opportunity for a chance encounter between she and Noah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If they were going to go that route, somebody was asking if this would be the new love interest for him, and he's a few years older, but it's not like that hasn't happened before.
Right, exactly. I mean, that would be an interesting dynamic to have because I mean, obviously she's going to have to start making connections as a new character on the show and in Genoa City. So, more than likely, the only place I can see her fitting in is the whole scenario with Noah. That's it.
Right. Well, she's too old for she's too
Moses.
yeah, she's too old for that group,
Mm-hmm.
and she's too young for Mariah and a little bit too young for the Mariah and Tessa crowd. Although dating Noah, that's still that crowd, but at the same time, he is single, and so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the producers or the editors or the writers, whoever, try to kind of bring her in and be able to make it look smooth as a transition. Because
Uh,
obviously this girl, but here's my thing though, she's a graduate student.
of what
So
they didn't say.
say it again.
I said, and they didn't say of what, so it could be anything.
Right. And the other thing is, if she is going to be, well, let's see, we're coming up on April. So a lot of the college kids get out in about a month or so. So I don't know, how are they going to say, well, I'm coming in for the summer, or is she quitting school to come to be in GC? I'm curious to find out what the writers are going to do to really bring her in.
Hmm. I agree.
And
I agree.
especially if they make her a permanent fixture, or is she going to say, well, I decided to transfer to GCU? And it's like, really?
You're right. And then and maybe she'll be a chemist and be the next Ashley.
Yeah, maybe she is a biochemist or something. And Jack would love that, because then he'll be like, oh, I'll love to give you a job working at Jabot. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly. And then she gets involved with Noah, and then Victor wants to hire her, and there you go.
yeah. Now, I gotta give it to Phyllis. She has been extremely supportive. I was concerned about how they were going to write her as being kind of pushy and overbearing, and sometimes she does nudge Jack a little bit to kind of get him to think and say, "Wait a minute, what about this? Or did you think she did that? Or you know what I mean?" So
Yeah,
she,
I love Phyllis. I was glad she went with him, and the dynamic of their relationship is always fun to watch. I like how she pushes back and how she doesn't let him stay status quo.
mm-hmm,
She kind of makes him come a little bit further out of his comfort zone with regard to opening his heart because it's been broken so many times.
yeah.
She somehow winds up getting in there.
Now, did you catch when Phyllis caught something that Allie said? Which obviously it made sense. So I guess when she was on the way out or something, Jack didn't never, what was it? Jack never told her.
Oh, when she texted and said, "Be careful going back to Genoa City."
Right. And so Phyllis was like, how does she know where you live, or, whatever. So obviously this girl went and did some homework,
Right.
to try to figure out who he is. And now that she knows that he's this millionaire that has a business, and, he runs a company, I'm wondering if that kind of softened her a little bit. You think? Or do you think it was genuine?
Well, it could go either way. She could wind up being genuinely interested, or she could wind up being a terrible opportunist.
Yeah, but we'll have to see. So yeah, and that all depends on how the writers are going to really bring her in, whether
Mhm.
we're going to see her as this scheming little girl, or if this is this lost woman that wants Jack as a part of her family. So
Right, right.
it's one of the two.
Definitely a coin toss on that one. I hope it's a good thing because once again, we would have Jack's heart broken.
Right, exactly. And that's the crazy thing. In this past year, Jack has found out he has not only one but two grandchildren.
Hmm.
He found out about Harrison being his grandson last year, and then within the next 6 to 8 months, he found out he had a granddaughter.
That's so true. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, so obviously the moment that they tried to bring in a new storyline with bringing in additional Abbotts, of course, that led to Hunter King and what is his name? Uh,
Michael Miller.
what's his name?
Michael Mailer.
Yeah, Michael Mailer. That's it. Um, leaving. or being on a part-time basis, which is like, okay, now we're back to square one. We don't have a ton of Abbots. Tracy popped in. She's here
Right.
for a while, but we had Ashley a while back, for Abby, and then Ashley left. So it's like, yeah, I guess they got to bring something or somebody or someone else, some family member in.
Yeah, I do wish we had the core family members on a regular basis.
Yeah,
Like we do the Newmans. It does give just a different dynamic to the show and allows for some of the old storylines to continue threading through things,
right.
conversations and digs that they can give to each other. You just can't really do that with new relationships, and of course, you have to have those new relationships to keep that fresh blood. But boy, it is fun to see some of these characters who've been around for so long get at it.
I know, right? I mean, it's like I remember the old school days when Jack and the Abbotts was up against the Newmans, and then after a while, it just fizzled out.
Yeah, it's almost like they got they got tired, and you don't want them to repeat the same story,
Right,
but there's so much to left to unpack there.
right, exactly. I mean, so, and I think that's why, even though they kind of gave some separation to Victor and Jack, and they're more of confidants and friends almost to each other at this point.
Right?
Yeah, versus now they're bringing in new rivals with, just say, the Newmans, which in this case is Ashland Locke, which has been a pretty good storyline. I got to give it to them.
I think so. I think so. And that could have gone either way too. I mean, I really wanted Victoria to actually finally have that love and that, equality, like you were saying last week, that they were so much on each other's same wavelength and intelligence level and everything and maturity level. But man, obviously it wasn't meant to be because it's about to fall apart.
Right. Now, you know what? Let's go ahead and jump into that because unless did you have anything else on Jack, Phyllis, and Allie?
No, I just can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack, even in the 3 days that we did get with the Young and the Restless, with this whole thing with Ashland Locke. That guy, and I got to give it to because I didn't know how the new actor was going to be in this role because he originally used to play a nice guy, right?
Yes, he sure did. He was Josh on Guiding Light.
Right, he was a nice guy. So to put him in this role, whereas we had the previous actor, he did a really good job at as Ashland Locke, but this guy is actually killing it.
He's good.
He's
He's
good.
really good. And the look, that stoic look on his face whenever he's exasperated, and you can tell he just wants to scream, "Okay, okay, that's exactly right. I'm screwing you over." But at the same time, he knows he has to keep his charade up, and you can just see him about to explode. And it's that underlying kind of simmer that really comes through in this character.
Yeah, I know. So, I got to give him kudos. I didn't know what to expect with him coming over in this type of role, but he's doing a great job with this
I
Ashland role. I mean, Ashland role, but and I think because he make it look so he is a manipulative character. He's doing a great job being very manipulative. I mean, the way he talked to Victoria, tell me that you believe me. You believe me, right? Don't listen to your family. It's the actual textbook manipulator.
It truly is. It's almost like she's a cult follower.
Exactly.
It's really, everybody else is wrong and only he is right and only he is telling the truth. And, it's that narcissistic must believe in me, my kingdom, my fiefdom that he carries out. And it just oozes from even his suit threads.
And you know what? I'm very careful with the word because everybody throws abuse and narcissism around like a buzzword these days. If it's
Hmm.
But in this particular character, he embodies that term to a T.
Truly.
You know,
And he's
so
gaslighting her.
Yeah.
which is another trait of that exact character. It's like watching this whole package come to light, and it's jaw dropping.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and she, the way he's doing it, because a lot of times with this type of character that he's playing, you will find it's me against the world. Your family don't love you. I'm the only one that loves you. I'm your sole supporter. They're angry with you because they're jealous of you and they don't want you to be happy. And a lot of times what we see with Victoria, except actually probably on Tuesday's episode, is that she has this us against the world mentality when it comes to him,
She does.
you
She
know.
absolutely does.
And
And
go ahead.
she really dive bombs into all of her relationships like that. She gets in there, and because of the fact that she has been overlorded by her dad her whole life,
Hmm.
she really goes all in, and she makes up her mind. And once she makes up her mind, she is not going to listen to anybody until it's absolutely flayed out in front of her, and the pain is already there. It's too late.
Yeah, yeah, I mean the whole thing with JT
Mhm.
and even who Billy. I mean,
Billy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's she has a history when it comes to that, and it's so unfortunate because, like you were just saying, we were talking about this last week. How if he didn't have these characteristics, those two would be perfect for each other.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
agree,
if he
100%.
wasn't this manipulative, I'm trying to steal your business type of, and I'm going to use you type of thing. If he was just a corporate guy working well, co-CEO with his wife to run the company into the future, they would be a good couple,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, they really do play really well off of one another, and the actors and both of the gentlemen who played the part, she played really well against both of them.
Yeah, she
Um,
did.
Personalities, the strength, the banter, just really strong, really strong. And I really was hoping that it was going to be good, but I mean, we saw him threaten Nate, so what is he truly capable of?
Yeah, I mean the whole thing, that conversation with Nick, I like how Nick handled it. When you're dealing with somebody in this state of mind like Victoria, you never want to come off accusatory. You have to get them to walk them through the situation and let them think and answer the questions for themselves. And that's exactly what Nick did. Because, she was like, well, what do you think I should do? And what do you think I should feel? And do you think this is right? And he was like, well, what do you think?
I loved
So
that.
and
It
so
was
he put it back on her so she can arrive at the decision versus him influencing the decision.
Yeah, and that's the best way to talk with her,
Mhm.
because no matter what the topic is in personal stuff or business, if it's not her idea and didn't generate from her discovery in her own mind, she's not going to go with it.
Yeah, because at least if it comes from her, she has to own it.
Exactly.
Whereas if it was Nick saying, you should listen to what dad is telling you, it's not her idea. So she's going to always think, well, should I make this decision or are you just wanting me to do this because of this? So now with her saying, well, man, I gotta think. He's not telling me what the problem is. He's just being here having a conversation. And sure enough, Ashlyn walks in that door sarcastically. Oh, well, here's another Newman that's trying to tear us down and break us up. Your dad sent you here too? And I'm like,
Yeah, well, Ashland acts like everybody has a case of pneumonitis.
I mean, he is it's always, but that's how that works. When we were talking about the whole gaslighting manipulation type thing that his this particular character has, that's what they do. They want to make it look like the world is against you. They don't like you. They don't want you to be happy. You're happy with me, but they don't want you to be happy with me. So,
And you're certainly not going to be happy with anybody else.
right, exactly. Now, So like I said, I got to give kudos to that. Now, did you see that conversation between Adam and Victor? Because okay, so let me kind of, I was on Adam's side on this one. And the only reason, I'll tell you why. So this conversation with Adam and Victor, he said to Adam, I mean, he said to Victor, look, this is Victoria's fault. She let this go this far, blah, 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 blah. And how can she be able to run the company if she making bad decisions like this? And I'll tell you why I agree with him. I mean, with him on this, because he did the exact same thing to Adam. The moment Victoria, of course, lied because she was all part of this whole scenario with Billy to bring down Adam. But she lied and said that she discovered what Billy was doing. Adam should have known better. He should have known that Billy was faking and all of that. And of course, Victor reacted to that and then say, you know what? Since I don't have faith in you now because you didn't catch the scam, I'm going to now have more support and role, and I'm going to sell off the company to Victoria. So now this is in reverse. This is technically what Adam is saying in reverse. Do you get where I'm coming from?
I totally get where you're coming from, and I absolutely agree 100%. You have to, what's that old saying? Put up or shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to dish it out, you better be able to take it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I completely agree with what he was saying.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, if you're going to do me like that, and the thing is, Adam wasn't even going to publish anything about Billy. Now they were kind of getting, Sally was taking pictures and all that. You remember that a few
I
months
do.
ago. But he didn't move on that, right?
Mm-mm.
But because even Victor just automatically doubted Adam and his abilities, and oh my God, I'll still let you have your seat, but I'm going to sell your company. And now all of a sudden, Victoria let this monster in. He actually, and she decided to let him be co CEO. I could see exactly why Adam would be like, oh, you see what I did, and look what you did. Why can't she get the
Exactly.
same punishment?
Did you see the look on Victor's face when she said
Yes.
it was a done deal? Oh my gosh, if looks could kill.
Yeah. Yeah. You gave away the company jewels. I
Yep.
mean, this, and that's what gets me about this because it's really a severe brainwashing. You know what this man is capable of. I mean, even though you forgave him, it still doesn't erase the fact that it happened, right?
He's not who he says he is, and
Exactly.
he never has been. And he
Exactly.
literally stole an inheritance that was absolutely not meant for him.
Exactly. And he
And you
stole an
think,
identity.
yeah, and you think he's not going to con you? What makes you so special?
Yeah. Yeah. In her head, she thought that the love and happiness and support that she could give this man, who clearly the character, not the actor, but the character is clearly built on a narrative of being a sociopath.
That is absolutely true. He absolutely is, because
Yeah.
he has no remorse whatsoever.
No
There's no
empathy.
feeling. Mm-mm.
Yep.
There's no feeling in his eyes whenever he gets that look on his face.
Nope.
It's all just like, how am I going to get myself out of this?
Yeah, and there's no, and that's the trademark. One of the things you just said is no remorse. The other one is no empathy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
And all he cares about is making sure he says whatever he can say to get Victoria to believe him and to keep her under that spell he has.
Right, and the way that he presents the information is so leading and so um, forcefully persuasive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's very misleading. And the thing is that she buys into it because she loves him so much.
Hmm. And she can't. There's no way that she can allow herself to believe that she was duped.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. A lot of times when people buy into something, whether, and I mean, it could be as something as serious, because reality TV is a big proponent of that. I don't know if you watch reality TV, which is not so reality TV.
It's not so reality. You're correct.
Exactly. But people buy into it thinking it's real. And when it comes out to be fake, they can't believe the actual truth. So
Mhm.
it's the same thing in this scenario with Victoria. She would actually have to look herself in the mirror and say, I actually fell for this.
Right. I got hoodwinked
Yeah,
in the worst way,
in the worst
personally
way.
and professionally.
Yeah, and so I know you probably remember what I said last week about, some of this stuff is on her, cuz yes, he manipulated a lot of this, but for months she walked around being smug and
Hmm.
talking down to people and being mean, and it's like you can't do that for too long before it comes back to you. You know what I
You know,
mean?
you are so right. And the way she spoke to Lily and
Mhm.
dressed her down in public, that was something else. And then whenever the way she would talk to Billy after she discovered what he was doing with regard to, messing with Adam, uh, making like she was some kind of an overlord herself, that was something else.
Yeah, and I mean, and just like I was just saying, you went and manipulated your own father to get what you wanted, which is your brother's company. You
Hmm.
were part of the takedown, but you went and lied to your father and said, "Oh my God, I discovered it." No, you were also a part of it.
Right. Left that little fact out
Exactly. You left
conveniently.
that little bit of tidbit out, So, you can't go through life steamrolling. And as bad as Ashland is, Victoria is not 100% a saint herself.
Oh, no, she definitely likes to be in control and have power. There's no question that runs in her DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, what did you think about the conversation between Nate and Ashlyn?
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ashland gave Nate a veiled threat.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And the thing is, what it was the whole thing about his, you know what, I could have your license revoked. And he was like, I don't care. I don't care because, I was planning on leaving the healthcare industry anyway.
Right.
So he was looking like, okay, I can't pull that one. All right, what else can I do?
No. And
Now I was actually afraid for Nate because I didn't, as much as Michael is missing, I didn't know if, they were going to have a situation where Ashlyn gets somebody to kidnap Nate and keep him quiet, but he was able to make it to Victor. So
right. And I was so glad that they let him spit it out before next week because then I would have been like, come on, let's go. Move along. Get the story.
yeah,
We want to know. I was really glad that they let us see that he got to talk to them.
yeah. Well, all we got to hear was Nate say, "I have a smoking gun," and I'm like, okay, but that's good enough for me.
Well, at least he told Elena. So if anything does happen to him, she knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. That's a very good thing. You know what I mean? But I was glad that Nate didn't back down because he was definitely trying to manipulate Nate too.
Yeah, he wanted to strong arm him.
But Nate was like, no.
And well, Nate can hold his own.
Yeah, he can. Yes, he can. And I was so proud of him. I'm like, Nate, don't back down. And I'm glad he's, because I was like, oh man, he's right. Because I mean, I work in the health information field,
Uh
and I
huh.
know he committed a HIPAA violation.
Yeah, he did. But you know what? I wouldn't even. I'd just keep my mouth shut.
And so I'm like, if they're trying to play into, PHI and all that type of stuff, it's like, yeah, Nate, you did commit a violation. It could put you in jail for a minute, but um, I'm glad he was like, you know what, I'm leaving anyway. So,
Exactly.
which
Exactly.
means, well, what that means is that he's not going to work for Newman. He's probably going to go ahead and work for Lily.
That would make the most sense.
Yep. because other than that, he'll be out of a job.
Right.
Yeah, because I think no, Devon didn't offer him anything. It was just Lily and the Newmans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was so happy when one of my friends sent me before this episode aired. She sent out a kind of like a, I guess, some notes because she got to see it a day ahead. She was like, "Oh my God, Nate saved the day," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And sure enough, it was this particular scene. So I was definitely excited by that.
Yeah, and
Um,
I love Nate. I think Nate. Well, first of all, Nate is beautiful
mhm.
and has such a great presence on screen. I would like to see more from his character and see where we can go with Nate because I mean, maybe Olivia could come back for a little while.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what else did we have.
Um. Whenever Sally blurted out about to
Oh,
Lauren, oh my gosh, I almost fell out of my chair.
yeah. I feel bad for Lauren because now she know Victor lied to her.
Right.
You
And
know,
she said, now that Victor's concerned, I'm even more worried.
yeah. I mean, but she's about to put out. I think she already put out an APB because they said that the police
Mhm.
is now involved. So that makes this whole thing that much worse. Victor
Right.
don't even know that now the police are looking for Michael.
Right.
So this is going to be interesting next week when all of this comes out. I'm just wondering, where does that leave Ashland? Does he go to jail and then this guy leaves the show? Or does he get away with it? Maybe Victor did set him up. I don't know. I'm wondering what they're going to do with this.
I don't know. I mean, he could steal somebody else's identity and run away and show up again later.
That's possible.
That's happened before.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, so I mean, because obviously all of this is about to come to a head. So I'm just wondering where that's going to leave the Ashland Locke character. But where does that leave Victoria? She's going to be devastated. As much as some of this is her fault, she's still going to be devastated.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for her. She's going to have a lot of crow to eat and she's going to have a broken heart to boot.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. Now, who's going to run Newman? Because she's not going to be in the headspace to do it.
Right. And Adam's so hungry, he's probably going to slip up and say the wrong thing. So then that would mean Victor would have to come back and do it himself because if Nick does it, then that would mean going back on his word with everything he said he wasn't going to do.
But he also has New Hope.
Yeah, he's busy.
So, I mean, unless he slides Adam into that seat.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Victoria. Now, it's bad enough she got to take accountability. It's bad enough she have heartbreak. But it's even worse now that she got to lose her seat to her brother.
Right. Exactly.
That's
I
going to
mean,
make it that much worse.
and she, as heinous as Adam has acted in some occasions, she has definitely not treated him very kindly.
No. Nope. I mean, even at the whole Tuscany event with the
Right?
wedding, that man was all over this trying to keep everything intact for her.
He bent over backwards.
And all she did coming out of that situation was, turn her nose up at him and talk crazy, set him up to lose his company. So
Mhm.
yeah. That's why I was saying for months she's just been rude to people.
Yeah, she has. She sure's been wearing that crown a little high.
Yeah, yeah. But going back to the whole Sally thing, yeah, she ran her mouth and Lauren was like, "What?"
She always overspeaks.
Now, what do you think about her and Chelsea now making a truce?
We'll see how long that lasts when Chelsea sees how close Adam and Sally have become. Because I don't think she's actually really truly seen it. She's
Okay.
only she's only kind of thought they were getting close, but I think when she sees them together in public, I don't know I don't know how friendly she's going to be. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
she's going to snap or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, so I looked at that and they made because Sally was like, "Look, I know we got off on a bad foot and got off to a
Mhm.
rough start, and even though we're not working in the same space together, can we at least, even though if we don't be besties, can we just make a truce?" And they were able to do that. I got to give it to Chloe. Chloe has tried to be mature in this whole situation between these two.
She's been Switzerland.
Why you say that?
Neutral.
Yeah, I mean, because she could have easily took Chelsea's side, but she
Mhm.
really likes. I think there's a part of Chloe that really likes Allie.
I do too. I think she sees a little bit of herself in Sally.
Yeah, yep, I think so too. So you
Because
know.
Chloe and Lily didn't get along when Chloe first came to town.
Oh yeah, that's true. You are absolutely right. They didn't, did they?
Mm-mm. No.
Interesting. Because it was about Daniel, wasn't it?
It was always about a guy. If it
About a
wasn't
guy.
Daniel, it
Yeah.
was Kane, and it was and Chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was always about a guy with Chloe.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. So I'm curious to see whether or not these three are going to get along. Because remember, we said last week we were wondering how Connor is going to get along with, you know, with
Ray.
Sally.
Oh, with Sally. Yes, with Sally.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were. You know, I don't know. He's got such prejudices against anybody that his dad goes out with, but yet he likes Ray. So it'll be interesting to see the dynamic of two different couples if they do put Ray and Chelsea together
Mm-hmm.
and see if they're the main ones raising Connor or if Connor likes Sally too, or if, how they do that. Because there's always going to be contention in that area, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So we'll have to see. But I thought that was a funny scene too. I mean, it was sad for Lauren, but I was like,
Right.
Sally, you always running your mouth.
She is. She's fun to watch.
Yeah, she is. She's a firecracker. And her and I gotta give it to the stylist for both her and Michelle Stafford because their dresses, oh my gosh.
And they look so beautiful in those clothes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, absolutely gorgeous. And I mean, I know they're in great physical condition,
Mm-hmm.
but oh my gosh, those clothes are beautiful and they look like they were made for them. And with their hair color, oh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's especially like Phyllis like isometric type dresses.
mm-hmm.
So things that are one shouldered or you know off each shoulders but come up the neck. I love that type of stuff. I have a ton of that stuff in my own wardrobe.
Oh, I bet it looks so good.
Oh man, and see, and I don't know if you're familiar with the online shopping store Sheen or Shein.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I shop from there quite often, and they have those style of dresses, kind of like what Sally would wear, or what Michelle Stafford would wear. Courtney
Uh,
Hope, I'm calling her Sally. Courtney Hope. Courtney
yes.
Hope and Michelle Stafford would wear with the off the shoulder, the one shoulder, or high necks and stuff like that. I love that type of stuff, and when I see them in those outfits, I'm like, man, it's perfect on her.
And they carry themselves so beautifully.
Yeah,
Just so graceful and they're just, of course, beautiful women. But I love that style as well. I just think it looks fabulous on them.
yeah, yeah. Even sometimes the way Sharon Case dresses too.
No, I think she is absolutely lovely. I have always thought she was so beautiful and just so graceful.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, she's not as her style is extremely feminine.
It's much more subdued,
Exactly, but it's still classy. You know what I mean? So,
elegant, beautiful, stylish. Yes,
hmm
absolutely.
I can't see her with an outfit. I mean, she probably could wear it, but as the character on the show, you don't see her with the same type of outfits that you would see on a Sally or Phyllis
No,
on a Sharon. No.
that's not her style.
Nope. Kind of like with Steffi and Hope. They have two different styles.
Two completely different styles. And I will say, with regard to some of the stuff that they put Hope in over the last 12 months, there have been some marmish looking, like prairie
Hmm.
type dresses that I have absolutely not cared for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Annika Nicole.
She's so beautiful. Why did they put her in that?
Well, and the thing is, her personality is totally opposite to Hope
Mhm.
Logan.
Yes.
When you see, because I follow her on Instagram, she
Hmm.
tries to wear a lot of the same stuff that you would see Jacqueline wearing.
Yes.
Yeah, so her personality is totally opposite of Hope Logan. You know what I mean? So it would be nice to kind of let some of these characters bring in some of their style. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Imagine the fun they would have with that.
I know, right? So, all right, did we cover everything for the Young and the Restless?
I think we did.
Yeah, it was a short week, so it was a short week. Okay, so let us do Bold and the Beautiful, and let me do my summary. So, for the Bold and the Beautiful for the week of the 14th through the 18th, Brooke questioned her choices as Taylor and Ridge grow closer. And then Hope sounds off about Ridge being with Taylor while married. And last but not least, Deacon and Steffy overhear conversations between Sheila and Thomas. Yep. So, where you want to go?
Well, I am I am annoyed that after everything Thomas has done to improve himself, that he has not gone directly to them and just said what he needs to say.
Exactly. I agree. I agree because I was expecting that he, especially he's trying to be a good man or a good guy. And with all of that, now it's like I'm keeping this horrible secret about the drinking.
And that's not just a little secret. That's
No.
someone's sobriety. That's damaging.
Yep. You are absolutely correct. And it's just so unfortunate that, you know, this is how the writers decided to go that route. You know what I mean?
Yes, I'm as annoyed about this as I was whenever Emma went off the road.
Yeah, that was crazy too.
Hmm.
Yeah, but he's not telling, but I think they're going to get caught up though.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Somebody else is going to overhear him and Steffi, or him and Sheila. Somebody else is going to figure it out, and they're going to go tell, and then it's all going to hit the fan. And then, of course, Taylor's going to be heartbroken again.
Yeah, I still don't think Ridge is 100%. I really don't. I mean, honestly, I'm glad Taylor kind of said this can't happen. You need to
Me
figure
too.
this out.
Hmm.
And she's telling the truth. Because remember what we said about her last week. We were like, I think she's going to get heartbroken because of the fact that she's just taking him in. She needs to give him some time to figure it out.
She stopped him.
She stopped him. So I was definitely glad of that.
Me too.
But I honestly, he needs to go stay with Eric. Go
Right?
in a
Go.
guest
I mean,
house.
be alone.
Sort this whole thing out before you kiss all over. Because even see, I still got to give a side eye to Taylor because she's sending mixed signals. You telling him you need the time and space to figure it out, but then you smooching and locking lips with him after he said that, and you all cuddled up in the bed with him and everything, and it's like, okay, which one is it?
Exactly. I mean, do you think it's just like it's a comfortable shoe?
I guess, but it doesn't help, because it only
No,
makes it worse for you. If you
that's
need
so
him
true.
to go and figure that out, let him go figure it out. Don't say you need to figure out what you want and then you get cuddled up in the bed with me. It doesn't help you Because now
It
you
does.
still growing feelings, y'all cozied up and everything. And it's like, no, send him about his way and let him figure it out.
Yeah, she definitely needs to do that for sure. And it's got to be hard because with him living in the guest house and her being in the main house, and with the kids always going, "Oh, you should be together. You need to get back together." Blah blah blah. Our family, our family. It's like, come on, stop yapping in their ear and let them figure it out.
They're, you know what, and that's the thing. They're not little children. You see little kids doing that, right?
Right.
These folks are adults, especially Steffi. She seems obsessed over this thing.
She does seem a little obsessed, and I think Hope seems a little obsessed with it as well. I think they're
Exactly.
the two polar opposite of the obsession.
Yeah, and Brooke is all over the place. One moment, because we also saw Brooke trying to send him away, and
Hmm.
then she's having this conversation with Liam. She was like, "Did I mess up? Maybe I did something wrong." And I'm like, "God, this is
Really?
crazy."
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, why on earth would you ever tell the person you truly love to go be with someone else?
I honestly think, and I said this the week before you came on. She's playing games. She played that game thinking like I can play reverse psychology and say, okay,
Hmm.
I don't want you, go ahead. And sure enough, it worked a little bit because Ridge was like, well, that's it. You're gonna let me go? So
Yeah.
she, but then he decided not to go the route that she expected. And he walked out the door, and then she started crying because the actual trick she tried to play didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't hold up.
Yeah, because she was hoping that if she's pushed back and say, you know what, nah, go ahead, go over there and be with her. I deserve to let you go. That's not what he expected. So now
Hmm.
he got to rethink this like, dang, well, wait a minute. Should I leave then? I mean, I thought she was going to come running after me and beg me, and she didn't, but that's what I'm saying. I just, honestly, Ridge needs to just step away from both of these women.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you there. And he's used to her begging him to
Of
take her back
course.
when she
Yep.
screws up every time.
Yep. And I think that's
And
why,
it's been a lot of times.
yeah, and that's why I think she tried to use that whole I'll let you go thing to see if that would kind of get him to do something different because it's unexpected, and it didn't work. So now
No,
she's
it
like
didn't.
telling Liam, oh my God, I think I made a mistake. What did I do? Should I
What did
be?
I do?
And Liam is like, get out of here. Go. What are you doing? Go after him. And I'm like, dude, really?
Right. Sit down, Liam. You
Exactly.
waffle.
Waffle boy. I used to call him Lame-O Liam. And a lot of people call him Waffle Boy because I mean, you were rich before all this started happening. Because the whole dynamic between Steffi and Hope was about him,
Right.
and then he got the nerve to be like, oh, a kiss, it's just a kiss, it ain't that bad. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Liam, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Well, exactly, because he was sexing it up with Hope while he was still married uh, still married to Steffi, and that's how they got Beth.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the flip side, he was with Hope, and then that's when he was at the beach house with Steffi, and Hope caught him kissing. Remember, on the edge of, and Thomas was around because that whole thing was
Right.
set up.
Yes. Yes.
Liam has been back and forth for the last 8 years, 10, 8, whatever number of years it's been. And now all of a sudden, he wants to be the voice of reason in this whole thing with her and Ridge. And I'm like, please sit down.
Sit down. Exactly.
And even Hope is being a hypocrite. And I think
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know if I talked to you about this or was this before you got here, but you know, Hope was completely upset with Liam when he kissed Steffi when she caught him. But now all of a sudden it's her mom and her dad, and it's like, well, it's just a kiss. And I'm like, beforehand, something like that is a problem for you. Now it's not a problem for you.
The situational hypocrisy at its finest.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is. And even with Steffi, it's like she's trying to, oh my God, she's the horrible person, meaning Brooke. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, has she did some things? I'm not passing. Brooke has done some things.
She has.
But Steffi, I mean, come on. You had two occasions where both of your kids was who's the father scandal. Okay.
That's true.
So you have no room to be trying to throw stones as hard as she's doing at Brooke about a kiss and her and Deacon being in the bed. When with your daughter, it was a question between Liam and Bill. When it was your son, it was a question between Liam and Finn. So don't put on the holier than thou suit.
Right? You don't get to go through the streets ringing the bell singing shame.
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute. And I will say with Thomas, I don't like the fact he's keeping a secret, but I like the fact that he's telling everybody to chill out. Because he also told Hope, why don't you let them figure it out? And
He
he
did.
all go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mhm. Oh,
No.
that's okay. I was just, he did, and he was a very calm and reasonable, rational person when he did so. It wasn't like there was some kind of weird look in his eye and he was, going off the deep end about anything. It was a very, very just matter of fact, calm conversation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And even with his sister, I mean, he's not as overly obsessed with this as she
Mm-mm.
is. So I think even as bad as it is that he's keeping this secret, I just don't think they should be overly involved in their parents' sex life.
It's kind of icky, isn't
It
it?
is. It's too much. Because even when, okay, so remember the scene when Ridge was upstairs talking to Taylor. And
Mm-hmm.
so Steffi's downstairs, like, ooh, they're upstairs, and ooh. And I'm like, who
Uh,
does that as a
Stop. Yeah.
child?
No, I didn't want to know anything.
Me either. And I mean, I have adult children, and I don't think they want to know anything.
That they don't. I don't think I don't.
Like like I say, oh, I'm finna go out, mom. It's none of my business. Just be safe. I'll talk to you later.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
Steffi, on the other hand, is like telling telling Thomas, ooh, they've been upstairs. Dad came down and got coffee and took it upstairs, and who knows? And let them have some. I'm like, girl, stop. It's too
Mm,
much.
it is. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Taylor does try to stop her though sometimes. She's kind of like, oh, and you can kind of see her cringe in some of the scenes in the background.
Right. Yeah. And I just wish that Taylor would have a little bit more boundaries or a stronger
Mhm.
boundary with Steffi, because as much as Taylor tries to say something and say, hey, let your father figure it out, Steffi always jump 2 steps forward and say, but no, this is why, and Brooke is this, and Brooke is horrible, and you should be over here with your family. And it's like, Steffi, your mom said to chill out.
Right. Listen to your mother.
Yes, I mean, but they don't set both of them, Ridge or Taylor, they don't set boundaries with her to say, look, we'll handle this, just chill out, let us deal with this. It's always Steffi telling them what to do.
Could you imagine speaking to your parents that way?
Yeah, my
I'd have
mom,
been knocked
listen,
into next week.
my mom will not have it. And I mean,
Uh-uh.
no, she's the type of person that's like, I don't care how old you are, and you know how old I am, you're gonna respect me.
Exactly. And I'm older than you, and I will always be.
Right, exactly. But just to see that, it's like it's just too much, the way that they have this going. Now, did you notice that because obviously they film the episodes like about 7 or 8 weeks in advance, but Jacqueline is showing in these scenes.
Yes, I did notice that. Doesn't she look amazing?
I know it. I know she's been walking around with big purses, and she had on
Mhm.
this one suit jacket, but her belly was poking.
It is poking. She's got her little baby bump.
Yes, she does. It's too cute. And I'm wondering, are they gonna bring the baby into the storyline, or she's just gonna go off to international or something?
I don't know. I mean, I wonder. It makes you wonder with where the storylines are right now.
Hmm.
What are their plans for Steffi during her hiatus? Like,
Right.
where, how are they going to set that up? Um, is it going to be something with Sheila and the baby? Is it going to be, a kidnapping? Is it going to be a professional business trip? What are they going to do?
Because as it look right now, it doesn't seem that they are planning to have a baby in the script. Because she has two kids already.
Mm-hmm.
She got the girl and she got the boy, Hayes, and what's the other girl? What's the girl?
Kelly.
Kelly. So I don't know if they would write in a third baby for her. So I'm thinking they're probably just gonna have her go to international on a business trip or something until she's finished, with maternity leave. Because she should be coming up due pretty soon.
I would think so. Yeah. Uh,
'Cause-
they hit it for quite a while.
yeah, because I follow her on Instagram too, and her belly is huge right now. So
You look so amazing.
I
Oh my God.
know, I know. I hope I think she's having a girl this time. Because I know she got the two boys,
Uh-huh.
and it would be nice. Her daughter have two big brothers.
Oh, absolutely. The
Um,
Big Brothers are awesome. I have six.
oh my God, are you the only girl?
No, there's four girls.
Oh God, it's 10 of you guys.
Yes, and I have none.
Oh, you have 9 kids.
No, I have zero. I have
Oh,
none.
oh, you have none. I thought you said you had 9. Okay.
No, I have a dog.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I have two. I have a she'll be 25 this year and the other one will be 22. My son.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That two, that was it. One of each. So, but
Well, I bet they don't talk to you the way these soap characters talk to their parents.
oh no, that's not happening. No, that's a negative. But yeah, so I just, it's cute to see that, her baby bump is kind of sticking out. They're trying to have her wear these big purses and trying to cover it up. So she'll be kind of, going off into the distance in a minute so she can have her baby and then come back.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, because we did also get another small storyline. We'll jump back to Sheila and all of that too. But there's another storyline with Paris, Grace, and Carter.
Wow. So Grace is strong.
Mm-hmm.
She is very demanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, I keep going back in the back of my head. All I can think is that Zoe went away pregnant and has a baby that Carter doesn't know about. And I think Paris is going to wind up pregnant.
Wow, that
I
would be
think that,
crazy. That would be a crazy, crazy storyline if that was to happen.
but Grace is, man, she's something else. She's making all kinds of demands.
Now, I will have to say this is that Paris, as much as Paris loves him and all of this stuff, she
Hmm.
has to completely close the chapter with Zende.
I agree.
I mean, if you want to move forward with this guy, you got to be honest with Zende. Let him go.
Right.
You cannot say, "Oh, she keep riding on this whole casual thing as if she gave him the truth he needed." That man still has feelings for her. It wasn't his idea, it was your idea.
Right. And she's now been intimate with Carter. So,
Twice.
yep. Or more. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, right? Exactly. But The thing, I honestly believe that this girl is going to come up pregnant, even if the Zoe thing, whether the Zoe thing happens and she come back pregnant, or if they don't write Zoe in. I still think Paris might come up pregnant, and she
I
got some
think you're right.
explaining to do.
I think you're exactly right. And there was something online saying that if she did get pregnant, that they were saying that Grace was going to switch the due date so that they thought it was Zende's.
Oh, are you serious?
Because Grace is a doctor, so I guess if you're a doctor, you just automatically have access to everybody's everything
But the
on soap
problem,
operas.
but the problem with that is that she hasn't been intimate with Zende for at least 2 months.
Long time.
So that wouldn't even make sense. She would
What?
have to be currently pregnant now at least 2-3 months.
Right.
So I mean, but anything is possible in the soaps. Who
True.
knows?
True.
I don't want to cross real life into the soaps, even though sometimes we tend to do that. But yeah, if that was to happen, that is so far fetched, because the time, it wasn't like she slept with Zende an episode last week, and then this episode she slept with Carter. Then you could have that kind of like what happened with Steffi and Finn. I mean, Steffi, Finn, and Liam. They
Right.
were around the same week, so there was the opportunity for the who's the baby daddy story. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But I still think it would be explosive, because just say, for example, she started feeling kind of funny, and she's like, oh, I'm nauseous, or whatever symptoms that they would want her to show. And she decided to take a pregnancy test in the office. Just say she did it in the office, right? Go in the
Mm-hmm.
bathroom, whatever. The pregnancy test is just it's laying off to the side, and Zende walk in and say, what is that?
Right.
That would be huge. She would be like, and it's positive that she's pregnant. Oh my God. That would be huge for her to try to explain to Zende, not only that she's pregnant and she's been having sex with another man, but who she's
Guess who?
pregnant by.
Right. Yeah, that would explode.
That would be explosive. I'm hoping I'm gonna put it in the soap opera universe.
Yeah,
Listen,
put it out there. Put it out
put it
there.
out there. Can we please? That would be huge. That would be explosive. You talking about crazy soap opera drama? That would be it right there.
It sure would give Grace something to talk about.
Well, did you see that low level threat that she gave him though?
Yeah, she did.
Because she looked at him. Are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you really
Right.
true? Because she already had that conversation about telling the Foresters.
Exactly.
And so we saw Carter turn around and say, "Nope, we can't do this." And Paris was looking devastated,
Right.
trying to understand, trying to figure out why, of course, Carter agrees with her mom.
I mean, just spit it out. Your mom's blackmailing me.
Yeah. But the other thing is that he don't want to be the breakup between her and her mother either.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if in fact he says, well, your mom tried to blackmail me, that's going to break up that whole mother-daughter relationship they have, and he don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, she would have to overhear it or find out for herself.
Yep. Yep, he can't be the one to do it. But even still, just say Paris found out outside of that conversation they had in his apartment, she would still be pissed off with her mom because it
Yeah.
actually happened.
Yeah, she definitely would. I think that's the kind of thing that would put a wedge between you.
Yep. But yeah, I will say Grace is a pistol. She's like, she coming that out. I need you to get her out of here. You go, and when he proposed to you, you better say yes, and you stay away from my daughter. And you know what you did to Zoe. And I'm like, well,
Did he
Zoe.
really though, Zoe? Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, Zoe was the demise of their relationship, not Carter.
Yeah. Let's be real with that one.
because Zoe was messing with Zende, which caused Carter to break off the engagement. That was on Zoe.
I agree. She instigated that whole thing.
Yeah, she did. She was in, and the thing is, she was engaged to Carter. She had the ring,
Hmm.
everything, and then turned around and she was messing around, trying to get the Zende, and which of course Paris was dating Zende, exclusively at that time. So she was trying to take her sister's boyfriend.
Exactly. And, that actually, whenever Paris started showing interest in Carter, I wondered if it was to get back at Zoe, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would have made a good storyline if they wanted to create some drama from that. But yeah, it doesn't look like that's the case. But the way Grace is making it sound as if Carter is this player who hurt Zoe. The only reason that Zoe got hurt is after they broke up. He shouldn't have been messed. Now, where Carter went wrong is against Eric,
Right.
because you were messing with his wife. Quinn was wrong for cheating on her husband.
Yep.
And then they had a whole arrangement, because remember the whole
That
ED
was whack.
situation? That whole thing was crazy. But, you know, nothing right there to say that, Carter was the person that did something bad to Zoe. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this. Because did they? Okay, so did Carter take Zoe back after she begged him to take her back?
I don't think they were formally back. I know they weren't back together whenever he was with Quinn. And I don't know that. I don't know. I would have to look that up, Letitia. I can't remember.
Wait a minute, because wasn't they about to get married, and then Paris? Somebody was about to get married, and then Oh no, was that who was getting married?
Quinn and Eric were redoing their vows,
Okay,
weren't they?
so Quinn and Eric was redoing their vows. All right, you got that right. And so that's when Paris put all that on the table, because she was the one that exposed them.
Yeah, she told Brooke.
Right. She did. And that's the other thing, which makes her look a little hypocritical.
She is a hypocrite, yes.
It's like you wanted to be the person that exposed somebody, and the one person that you exposed, you're now sleeping with him.
Right.
So but that's soap operas for you, so
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
There's only so many actors on the payroll we can pair together.
Exactly. So, all right. What do you think? Now we're gonna try to, because I didn't want to forget about that whole thing with Paris, Carter, and Grace, because they worked.
Oh, sure.
But now we need to bounce back, because this whole thing with Sheila. Sheila is begging Thomas not to tell, and I'm like, Sheila, you can forget it, because it's going to come out. That man can only hold that secret for so long. But she actually thinks that she can convince him by telling him that this is what you wanted. Your parents and your family is back together. You don't want to make them unhappy, do you? You don't want to see them mad and sad, and you don't want to hurt your mom. And yeah, I don't know who's worse, her or Ashlyn Locke.
You know, I mean, she changed the labels on the bottle. That's just so diabolically evil.
Mm-hmm.
And he manipulated the love of a woman who's basically been brokenhearted over and over and over. I think they're both pretty equally diabolical.
Yeah, I will agree.
Mm.
I mean, you're talking about super villain.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you would describe as a super villain, because you not I mean, and we've talked about this, and I've even talked about this with Keisha on previous episodes, to and even with the writers, because I mean, she's only acting out a part, right, Kimberlyn?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But just the mere fact that they wrote into a script to knock someone off of their sobriety who hasn't taken a drink in years,
Mm-hmm.
all to get, I mean, because there's many ways that they could have went with this, but the whole break
Right.
the sobriety thing, I think that was kind of, ooh,
It's a
that
little
was
over.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was bad. And then she's walking around, I don't know what happened. Why did I do this? Blah blah blah. And Sheila's walking around with this big old grin on her face. Excuse me. And saying things like, especially when she came over to the house.
Right.
I was like,
That was
that's bold, Sheila.
that was some boldness right there. Yeah. When she first came back, all I could think of was, somebody needs to push her over the cliff before she does damage.
Yeah, but she keeps coming back. She never
It's like
dies.
a bad penny, Letitia. She keeps turning up.
Yeah, she keeps coming back. So, yeah, I mean, do I think that Brooke wasn't? I know she's trying to be protective, but when you know you're dealing with a psychopath or a sociopath, you don't, and what's the word I want to use?
Don't engage.
Yeah, don't poke the bear.
Right.
Because her confronting Sheila a few months back, and it was probably like January, you're never going to see those kids, Hayes and Steffi and Finn. It's my family. I'm like, Brooke, you're a little bit over the top now
Mm-hmm.
because you hardly ever engage with them over there. So what are you talking about? But
Right.
she really want to stick it to Sheila, and I'm like, you don't poke the bear.
Mm-mm.
All she had to do is just say, you know what, maybe you should just stay away, let them figure it out. But no, Brooke got in her face. She got crazy. But do I think they should have wrote this where Sheila knocked her off of her sobriety? No.
No, I agree. It was pretty lowest low of the bar.
I mean, if you wanted a cheating scenario between her and Deacon, that could have been easy. I mean,
Right.
without the drinking. I mean, they with Ridge being away on New Year's Eve, and she's upset. She don't want to be alone, and blah blah blah. Have Deacon console her, hold her, give her a hug, and the next thing you know, one thing happens. And but no, they had to throw the whole alcohol scene in there, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, at least if the alcohol hadn't been brought in, she she would have to take personal responsibility. But
Correct.
because the alcohol was brought into the story, now she doesn't actually have to take responsibility.
Which is why I honestly believe Ridge and Brooke gonna get back together, because
Yep.
once they find out this whole Sheila thing happened, they're gonna just bypass what happened between Brooke and Deacon and say, well,
Right.
it wasn't her fault. It was the alcohol and it was Sheila.
Well, and I mean, there was a lot of disrespect to their marriage whenever she wouldn't take Ridge's side, whenever he kept saying, don't let him in, don't let him in. And then whenever the fight ensued in the storage room where Deacon works and she went to Deacon instead of Ridge, that was not alcohol influenced.
Exactly. It wasn't. So yeah, when they were fighting, is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because there's some accountability there too that she has
For
to take. Yep, she has to take that as well. So it depends how the writers go with this. Are they just going to let Ridge find out what happened and it was all Sheila behind this, and he's so mad at Sheila that he just throw everything else out to caution? Because what they could easily say is, well, if it wasn't for the alcohol, the rest of this would never happen,
right.
which
The easy,
washes all of that away in probably Ridge's mind. Cause see, if she wouldn't have gotten the alcohol, she wouldn't have never kissed Deacon. There would have never been a fight, and she wouldn't have never had to take his side. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's the whole domino effect, right?
correct, correct. So I think she's really cocky at right now because you showing up at Taylor's unannounced. You
Oh,
showing up
yeah.
at Steffi's house unannounced.
Hmm.
You showed up at Brooke's house unannounced. You always at Deacon's restaurant unannounced. And
Right.
and it's like you want to get caught. She want to. I mean, if you've done something like you said, this diabolical, and what is it? So they said psychopaths
Sociopath.
usually, one of the two usually is a lot smarter than the other. And I'm thinking it's more the psychopaths because they're
It is.
calculating.
Yes.
And so a psychopath knows to stay hidden.
Right. That's
They
what's so
don't
hard.
want to get caught.
She's just so proud of her diabolical behavior.
Exactly. And so, with her, there's no way you should be calling Thomas and having a conversation with him about and I'm not excusing what she did, but you calling Thomas still being at the restaurant where Deacon worked. You know he could come up and hear you on the phone.
Exactly. I tell you what, the placements of all these conversations, and they want, come here, let me have a private conversation, and it's a foot away from where they just were. Oh, that's so frustrating.
Well, this is the difference between the young and the restless and the bold and the beautiful. And the young and the restless, people lock their doors.
Yes.
Now, even when Victor had a conversation with Adam when he sent Sally out of the room, they
Uh-huh.
closed the door. When Victoria have conversations with Ashland, they close the door.
Right.
On the bold and the beautiful, they have conversations with the door cracked.
Right. How do you not know this?
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just crazy. Or on the Young and the Restless, they have conversations in the privacy of hotel rooms, at the Grand Phoenix, and things like that. So if you need to have a deep conversation, nobody's privy to it, right?
Exactly.
The Bold and the Beautiful, they have conversations anywhere.
They do.
And they don't lock their doors. I don't know how many times Brooke walked into Eric's house, people walk into Steffy's house, and it's like, do you guys lock your door?
I live in the middle of the city of Houston. I lock my door even when I'm home.
Listen, I lock
Always locked.
I lock my door, period.
Oh, same. It is always locked.
But it just seemed that on Bold and the Beautiful, people just walk into other people's houses. And it's
They
like,
do.
yeah,
I
so
know.
it's
The
funny.
worst ones are when Brooke walks into Steffi's when it was like, what you don't even knock? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
And
they
then
don't
Steffi
knock
just
either. They
rolls
just
with it.
walk in.
Yeah. Like,
At
at least
least
we get something.
at least on the Young and the Restless, people ring doorbells, like they'll knock on Jack's door, ring the doorbell, or if they're at the ranch, the gate people let them in. You know what I mean?
Right.
You would think with all the people walking into Eric's house, which is a mansion that should have security, it's like, how do you let people just walk in your house?
How'd they get in the gate?
Exactly.
Because I've seen some of these houses on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and they all have gates, and
That's
they
a
live in a gated community.
it doesn't make sense. Even the whole storyline with Thomas can't find a place to buy a house. And it's like, I would think you're a part of a millionaire family. You can't find a house.
Right.
He's house hunting. I can't find a house. Why not?
Exactly. Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
God. It's just crazy. The difference between both shows is
I wish if
hilarious.
Gold was an hour, I bet it would be different.
Probably so. Probably so. Because here's my question: where does Paris live?
So she's, I guess, in the apartment that she took over from Thomas.
So she did stay there. Okay.
I thought she did, yeah, because she hadn't made up her mind to be with Zende.
Hmm.
But then the way they had her looking at Thomas, and like we had talked about last week, they had her looking at, I mean, she was like man hungry for a while.
Yeah, even though she was dating Zende, that's the
Right.
difference. It was like she just didn't give that dude a chance. Well, I don't even know. Do I want to say she gave him a chance? She was very disrespectful in the relationship.
I think so too.
Because there's no way you should be, and especially the fact that you dreaming about or having fantasies about somebody else's husband. That was
Right.
Steffi's husband.
That was concerning.
especially coming off the whole thing with her exposing Quinn and Carter.
More of the hypocrisy coming out.
Yeah, so you go from that to exposing them and you shouldn't be doing this and you're cheating on your husband and blah 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 to now having fantasies about Steffi's husband, so much so when Zende asked her to move in with him, you say no, but you decide to live with Steffi.
Right.
Yeah, I
That whole
was
situation was screwed up.
that whole thing was crazy. Then they moved her out of there and then stuffed her in the house with Thomas.
Right?
And she still did not want to move in with Zende. And I'm like, Zende,
Move along, son.
do you recognize what this woman is doing to you? And now it gets worse with this whole thing with Carter. So yeah. I wish,
Hmm.
you know what, that all of that stuff about Thomas and even Finn never got to Zende. It would be interesting if all of that was exposed about her to Zende.
Oh, yeah.
Put it all on blast.
Yeah, but she's the only one that knows because it was all in her head.
It was in her head, right? So maybe
Until Carter.
listen, maybe she'll get so mad and say, "See, I never wanted to be with you. I always was interested in other men. I was interested in Finn, and then Thomas was interested in
Right?
me." That would be I wouldn't wish that on anybody because that would be so hurtful to Zende.
It would because he's such a kind young man on the show.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
I don't know if I wanted. I changed my mind. I don't know if I wanted to go that far because that would be hurtful to him.
it would. But I do want him to find out so he can protect himself.
Yeah, and she has to be the one to do it. She has
Yeah.
to. And I mean, will I think he would get mad about the breakup? No, I think he will get mad about the fact that a lot of what's been the downfall is Carter, especially he was the one that jumped in the middle of his proposal.
Couldn't just leave it alone.
Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
It
Because
was
here's the thing. What if he didn't propose? I mean, what if not propose? What if Carter didn't text Paris and
right.
Zende went ahead and proposed? What would Paris would have told him? No.
Right. Because honestly, it might have been Carter putting that little carrot out there of telling her and
Mhm.
her knowing that there was a little spark there
Mhm.
and then her using that little carrot dangled about, I'm a possibility without actually saying it
Mhm.
and then actually becoming it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you got a point.
And did that even make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want this out in the open, but I have a feeling it's going to be ugly when it gets out.
I think you're right.
Now, my question is Zende going to walk in the office one day and catch them kissing?
Or
And
worse.
then, Zende is going to be ready to punch his lights out. I don't know.
Right. And Zende's never been a violent person, so it would
No.
be interesting to see how he would react to something so hurtful.
Yeah, I don't. It depends on how the writers are going to do this because we've seen some
Mhm.
fights. Look at the fight between
Uh,
Deacon and Ridge. All of them,
right.
they really bloodied the both of them up and swore. Had purple marks on their faces and stuff
Yeah,
like
they
that. Yeah,
did. And that's got just the guys. I mean, look at all the cake and the chocolate and the smackdowns between the women.
yeah, that's true. So it's possible that they can have a little melee in the office between Carter and Zende, and
They
all
sure
of this
could.
is Paris's fault. Well,
Yes,
not
it would
all
be.
of it.
A lot of it.
A lot of it is Paris's fault, but there's Carter has to take some accountability in this too.
He does. Yeah. Honestly, other than just being a little bit unclear on how feelings are being felt, Zende is truly innocent in all of this.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, in the whole scenario, because I mean, this girl, like you say, even before Carter, she was fantasizing over other men while being in a relationship with him. So,
Well, and she really did let him believe that she was truly into him,
yeah, that's
only
true.
to then come out and be like, okay, I'm not really that into you, which I never really understood how or why that turned around.
Yeah, I don't know. They never really, they just jumped from one guy to the next guy and now to Carter. And,
Yeah.
I just think that the writers really didn't have somewhere to take Paris because originally they brought her on as this whole thing to go up with Zoe. But when Kiara Barnes decided to leave and go to Fantasy Island, you know, then because she's is that show still on? Did they get another season? Do you know?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, because she had got that big break on Fox, because Fox
Yeah.
is the one that aired that new Fantasy Island, and so she was like, "See you later, Bold and the
Prime
Beautiful."
time.
Yeah, So I think the writers didn't expect her to leave like she did.
Yeah,
So now they had to scramble to kind of figure out where they could fit Paris in.
that makes sense
You know,
because she was just a thorn in the side of the sister.
Yeah, it was a triangle. It was this triangle with Zende, Zoe, and Paris. And then Paris ended up with Zende, and then the whole blow up with Carter. But in the midst of that, Kiara Barnes got a new job. So,
Right.
it's like, okay, the writers are like, okay, we lost the Zoe character, which they could have easily, recast it if they wanted to,
Sure. Absolutely, they could have.
but they chose not to. But in the process of it all, they had to figure out what to do with the Paris character. So
I mean, I would have rather kept Zoe than have Grace show up.
yeah, because I mean, here's the thing: what is she there for? Is she only there to try to break them up, and then what are you going to do with her?
Exactly. What kind? I mean, if they really wanted to embed the family, they could have recast Zoe, had the mom come back and not be, hot headed with the guy or
Hmm.
the man in their life and her life, and had. I mean, there were so many other different ways they could have gone, and it
Yeah,
would have been so much more positive.
right, right. Yeah, I just think they got lost. They didn't know what to do. I mean,
Yeah.
they have this ongoing storyline with Brooke, because for a long time we had to deal the last 3 4 years with Hope, Liam, and Steffi, and then
Right.
they brought Taylor back, and now they start that whole triangle again. And it's like, okay, what's the other storyline? Oh yeah, we still got Paris and Carter. What are we gonna do with them? Okay, let's try this, because we really haven't seen Bill as much. We haven't
No.
seen Katie. We've only seen Wyatt once last week. And where's Shauna? Where's what's her daughter name?
I knew.
Flo.
I said, yeah. Where's Flo and Wyatt?
Yeah, Flo and Wyatt, Shauna. I mean, I'm glad here. Okay, another best dressed person is Rena Sofer. Oh
Oh,
my God.
she's stunning. I know. I know.
Rena Sofer has to have her own personal stylist because nobody else on this show dresses like her.
Mm-mm. No, she's got the it factor, and she's an amazing artist.
I know. The girl is awesome. She can act. She also do a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of movies on like Element and stuff like that too.
she's
But
good.
she's good, but the what she wears, that long, have you remember that long cardigan she wore in a lot of different scenes?
Yes.
I had to actually go and track two of them down, and I actually got some for myself.
Did you? Oh, I love that. Fun.
When I saw, I was like, I gotta have that. That girl know how to dress. I
She
put
does.
her right along. I would love to have a competition between her and Phyllis. Could you imagine them two in a scene? You put Quinn and Phyllis up against each other.
Oh my God. You know what would be even better than putting them against each other would be putting them together to conspire.
Oh my goodness, that would be great.
Oh, could you imagine?
They should
I'd
do
like
it.
to
Hey,
see. I would love to see that.
Jack and Phyllis is in LA. Might as well do it.
They sure are. They sure are.
I would love to have those two work together.
Me too. The scenes would just be absolutely fantastic. They would either
Hmm.
be really funny or really intense, or they would just be really, really.
You know what they should have done with Sally? They should have made Phyllis a relative of hers
I was so hoping that's what they were gonna do, but no.
because technically they could actually even okay, you remember what's her name? The girl that played Phyllis before Michelle Stafford.
Yeah, it was Michelle Stafford, and then it was
What is her name?
she was Dinah on Guiding Light.
What is her
Oh
name?
my goodness gracious.
Oh my God. I can't
I
believe
can't
them.
believe this.
Yeah.
Hina Tognani.
Yes, that's her name. Gina.
Is that how you say her last name?
Yeah.
Tognani.
Yep. A,
She's beautiful.
a lot of people were saying Courtney Hope looked like she could be her daughter.
She has a huge resemblance.
And so when before the crossover actually happened, people were saying there should be a crossover. We should have Sally when she was on B&B to come over, and it could be this whole storyline where she is actually related to Phyllis somehow. But of course, we lost Gina when Michelle came back.
Right.
But that would be a storyline because the feistiness, the redheads, that would have been
Absolutely
great. Could you
agree.
imagine if her and Summer are actually sisters?
I was so hoping.
That would have been
I was
great.
so hoping.
So, oh well, missed opportunity, right?
Exactly. Let us write.
Yeah, let us be the writers, right? So let me ask you, did we cover everything from Bowl? Did you have anything else?
I think we did cover everything. Yeah, it was packed in 3 days.
Yeah, it was. Okay. So let's do our flip the script segment and then we will end it. So, what's your flip the script? If there's a particular scene this week or storyline this week that you wish you could change, which one would it be for each show?
Hmm. On on the Young and the Restless, I kind of wish they would have just let Allie say that she was grateful for having family because she only had her mom, and I
Mhm.
wish she would have immediately agreed to get to know Jack better based on the fact that her dad had written the letters and that he had forgiven him, even though they had not been back in touch.
Okay. Okay.
What are your thoughts on Y&R?
Um, okay, so my flip the script is something totally different though. It's
Okay.
not related to the Alley storyline. My flip the script would have been the whole thing with Ashland Locke. And because Nate did an excellent job with that, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't even had a conversation with him. I would have just went with the news. I've been like, you know what? I did some digging and here you go. Because the thing is, when you put a sociopath, psychopath on notice, they're
Hmm.
planning their next move on how to counteract you.
So true.
So if I was Nate, I would have been like, oh my God, this is crazy. This man never had cancer. He's lying. He lied to me. Why even entertain a conversation with that man? But that's
You know,
just me.
I agree. Well, I vote for yours. Yours is better than mine.
Oh no, but yours is good. Hey, is that something that you wish you could change where Allie didn't kind of do the tug of war with Jack and just come on back to GC? Yeah, because I want to know what they're gonna do with her.
I do too.
Yeah,
I
so
really do.
hey, I like yours too. So
All
what do you got for bowls?
right. Come on, Thomas. Open your mouth.
Oh, okay, got you.
Open your mouth, Thomas. Spill it. Spill it. Tell your mom and your dad and Brooke all in the same room at the same time.
Okay, cool.
I would love to see that blow up.
Yeah, Thomas is. I don't think he's going to be able to hold this story too much longer. But more than likely, they're going to get caught on the phone talking about it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
he's going to be busted, busted, busted.
And then they'll be thinking, oh, he hasn't changed. He was holding secrets and he's going to have
Exactly.
to rebuild himself again. And nobody, oh, it's just that, oh, come on, let him be built back already.
Yeah, exactly. My flip the script is that whole scene with Carter, and Paris and Grace. Put them both on notice. You know what? You're
Mhm.
not going to threaten me. And Paris, if you want us to move forward, you got to go clean up that whole thing with Zende. We cannot continue to do this behind his back.
I agree.
If you want us to come out to the public, you want us to be happy together, you want us to be a couple, you love me, you need to go tell Zende it's done, close that chapter, and send both of them out the door.
You're right because he really did let Paris kind of take the wheel,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
she kept coming at him and coming at him and coming at him, and you know, it gets
Yeah,
harder to say no.
yeah, I'm all about boundaries. You got to set a boundary.
Mhm.
Like, look, I can't keep doing. We already slept together, which is bad enough. If he find that out, and he still has feelings for you because he still think there's a chance, he's
Right.
going to be devastated, and she does not care about that.
I don't think she does.
She doesn't. And so, in order to keep this right and keep this place from imploding, I'm going to need you, Grace, to not threaten me.
Exactly.
Because as much as you threaten me with this, I can also, you can get in trouble too. Um,
Right.
on the flip side, Paris, I'm sorry, you cannot come back here. If you want us to be in a relationship, you got to close that chapter with Zende. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
he
like
needs to
that
set
one
bound.
too.
Yeah, he needs to set boundaries. I'm just over this whole, oh, we can be a couple. We got to live our lives. No, you got to close the door first.
That is so true.
You
It's the only way to go forward with a clean slate.
exactly. You cannot continue moving forward with somebody else when you have unfinished business somewhere else.
Yep.
And knowing that that man was almost to propose to you, think he turned his feelings off that quick? No.
It's not a faucet.
Yeah, I mean, so clearly, and that's what Carter keeps telling him, telling her, you need to go. This man loves you, and blah blah blah. Oh, we're casual, we're casual. That's what you're trying to convince yourself. That's not what's in his head.
No, it's definitely not what is in his head. He definitely thinks that they have a lot of a deeper connection than they have.
Exactly, and yes, did he go out on dates, but because you told him to, not because he really wants to.
Well, right, and the look on his face, you can even tell he didn't really even want to go.
He didn't want to go.
Mm-mm.
Nope. So yeah, Carter needs to say, look, nope, don't come back over here until you clean that up. Same thing what Taylor said to Ridge, even though I don't know if it was solid, but she was like, you need to go figure out what you need to do before you come over here.
Yeah, I was glad she did that.
Yep. So, all right, Trish, it was a good one. Even though it was 3 days, we unpacked a lot this week.
We did. These layers of the onion keep coming back, and somehow the onion gets bigger, and we'll be doing it all again next week.
Yep, I am looking forward to next week. As much as I love March Madness because my brackets are all busted up. But yeah, because there were a ton of upsets yesterday, a ton of upsets today. So, but I enjoy watching it, but I also enjoy my soaps.
Same.
So, looking forward to seeing it on Monday, the week of the 21st. We're almost in April.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, time is flying. We just said Happy New Year, and now we're in month 4.
Shoot, it was just Y2K.
Yeah, I know. You're talking 20 years ago. Girl, listen, Y2K was the year I was pregnant with my son because he'll be 22 this year. So
Oh my
that
goodness.
time go by so fast. I remember Y2K like it was yesterday. So yeah,
Don't you? Everybody was so afraid everything was just going to stop working.
I know. It was crazy. That was crazy. And nothing happened.
I know. The big nothing burger.
It's a big want.
Right. Oh my goodness, you are so much fun. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
All right, same here. And until next week, we will see you then. Bye.